Before I became an actor, I studied visual arts. So it's always been really a bit of a keyhole into the way I act, I suppose. I have quite a visual kind of appreciation of things, and I get a lot of inspiration for characters that I play visually. You know, is there any difference for acting for performance capture for a video game or for a film? The answer would be no. It's pure acting. When you say it's recording voice, it's recording psychology, it's recording movement, it's acting. It's just a different way of putting it down. It's not celluloid, it's ones and noughts. You are the puppeteer of your own marionette. You are giving the soul and performance of the character, which will then be digitally manifested with costume and makeup after the fact. Because I could actually, I mean, to be part of the scene, if you want Monkey to be part of the plan, I could actually say, eat shackle to the reservoir floor. I mean, the way of getting into the character I find for Monkey is, you know, pitching him to get it right is difficult, because you don't want him to be sort of morose all the time. You don't want him to be, you know, there are moments of real moments of humour in this.
Hey! And I take care of any mechs we come across. and I take care of any mechs we come across. It always works. Works every time.
And you have to play all the values out very fully. So it has actually been a really challenging character to get right, because you can take him in lots of different ways. It feels like he's coming because it's all. I mean, it's almost like Monkey should offer some Pixie some kind of comfort in some way when if he's really that close to you know, we should think he's going to die at that point. The great thing about performance capture in this game is that Monkey is about 7 foot tall and has the most amazing six-pack, very thin waist, and is built and ripped like you've never seen, which is very handy because I'm about to go on to play a role in another project who's the diametrically opposed opposite, who's physically very disabled and very thin, and so I can actually lose weight for that role and look ripped as hell for this one at the same time. So that's quite handy, really.
I moved out to California to act 7 years ago when I was 12. I moved out here with my mom. I've been really fortunate so far. I'm about to start my 3rd series.
Trip, you're gonna have to hurry.
I can't hurry. This thing's hard to crack. It's got a defense system locked into it.
I've never had any kind of experience like this, and it's all so new. Every day is like, oh, we're building this, we're doing this, da 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 da. So this whole thing has been incredible. You know, the basic principles of what you're doing are still there, and once you get into a scene, you're in it with that person. But early on in the first couple days, Andy told me that mocap acting is a bit more like theater acting, because your facial expressions do have to be so pronounced. You really have to focus on the movement. I mean, effectively, you're animating a character that, you know, is not endowed with all of the range of motion that Lindsay is. You know what I mean? And you have to really make sure that all of that plays, and there's like a particular stance that they always take, and you have to be very body aware, obviously. And you really are able to build the character from her physical movements as well, which has been really fun. Your whole goal is the gameplay, but we tried to really bring that dramatic element in every single scene so that the tension would be very real between them and the emotion would be very real. You get so hot in that suit even after you've been doing the smallest amount of movement.
Okay, I'm gonna need a few minutes to grab this.
You know, you're running around for these big chase scenes and your adrenaline is up and you're getting shot at, and you have to be really, you know, in it. And you just get done and you're like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Grew up playing everything from Indian classical music to flamenco to jazz to playing in orchestras to playing with punk bands and rock bands and funk bands. Ever since then I've worked a lot in a whole range of areas, and I particularly love, over the last 10 years I've been doing a lot of orchestral work. What I try to do is I try and get involved in lots of different things. You know, I work a great deal with theatre, having worked with theatrical companies like Complicity, who won the Olivier Award last year, and Akram Khan, you know, who's a fantastic dancer, and a lot of orchestras like the London Symphony Orchestra, who I've been doing a season with recently. You know, I try and bring a lot of that kind of experience, and also my own albums and DJing and stuff like that. I try and bring a lot of that into the games world. You don't need to be driven to speak, you know, we just speak all the time. And I kind of feel the same way about music, because I've spent more time in my life playing music than I have talking anyway. So it kind of feels like a natural thing, so I never get tired of it, because it's my communication. I get a real buzz from DJing in a club, you know, and watching people dance, or you know, cheering to something you just put on that they hadn't heard before or they're excited by, in the same way as a live gig. You know, what's also an incredible buzz is when you get an orchestra in a room, and for the first time you hear back what you programmed in your bedroom, or you first heard in your head just a few weeks before, and it's just a little theme you might have whistled or thought of. You know, it's quite incredible, you know, watching that machine that is an orchestra come to life and create something that was just literally an abstract idea just a few months ago. I have a strong idea of what I wanted to do with Enslaved right from the beginning. I think we've been true to that kind of flavour. You definitely can identify the music as being from this game, you know, and I think that's what's working very well. It feels like it has its own vibe.